Hello and welcome to the APW. I'm here with Hugo White, now producer. Is that correct?
yeah, I guess so.
You've been doing it for a little bit now, right?
Well, I was doing it with the band and then since then, which is about a year and a bit, I guess that's what I've been doing, you know. Yeah.
What stuff have you been doing of late?
What projects? I probably did maybe like 6 different projects last year. I worked with Johnny Lloyd for a bit, who's used to be in Tribes, and we did like a couple of EPs that were really cool. It was a really fun project to do. And then I did Magic Gang. I did the first single with them, How Can I Compete, which was on Fee's record label. And then did a bunch with Matt Maltese, and then and more recently 10 Tons, which has been great. And
I've just heard one of the mixes, and I think it's really great.
Oh, cheers.
Who's your management, just in case anyone wants to?
I have no management.
Hey, okay.
So offers welcome. But yeah, no, because I was being managed by the manager John Reed, who managed the Maccabees, and I think just after the Maccabees thing, it's kind of like we're sort of separating out and starting again. And actually, part of that, is just kind of I'm kind of want to settle my kind of workflow and then find a manager, you know.
Cool. Obviously, you've got the old. It was the Jesus and Mary chain. Studio. Yeah. Was it the drugstore?
The drugstore, which we've renamed it the drugstore.
Oh, you kept it?
Yeah, kept it. But for a while we didn't have a name. We were just like, what can we call it? And we didn't have a name for it. But then more recently we just thought, well, let's keep the name. Do
you go around to other studios, or you just mainly try and keep it within?
Mainly there. I think because the setup, we spent so long. We've been in there for 7 years now. So it's kind of like it's been a home. And we set up a bunch of, I guess with the Maccabees records when we started, so like the last one which I produced, we kind of took the budget and spent it on gear, as you've seen in there. So it's kind of kitted out.
What did you get anything when you bought the studio?
We didn't actually. At first, we just had a control room that was just empty. That's how we started, and we were.
Did you not get the piano? Was the piano not
there was a piano there, which is the original, the piano that was in, had been in that studio since the 70s or something.
Which is the smaller in the old tape room?
Yeah, and there's a sort of tape room.
Yeah.
And it was like they obviously had it properly set up, that place. But I think it had been derelict for 10 years before we got it. So I don't know how that slipped through the net, but... It's we got a lucky find.
I love it as a space.
Yeah, it's great, and it's kind of got this. It's got a sort of lo-fi feel to it all as well. It doesn't feel too posh, and it's kind of, and it's just cluttered with all the gear we've collected over 15 years. Of being in a band, and that's kind of all proved to be pretty useful.
I know you use Chenzo for mixing duties.
Yeah,
and he's a fabulous mixer.
Amazing, yeah.
And obviously does a lot of reamping and re-snaring and bits and pieces to load things up. Has he asked for you for specific things for you to put in the studio for him to help him at all?
I mean, he did early days. He was really helpful actually in that the Mott's to Prove It, that Maccabees record. I mean, he pretty much lent us all, I think 6 BAE, not even BAEs, Neve 1073s.
Oh, right.
And
was it the 500 rack, or is it?
No, like he literally lent us like taken out of the desk, and modded into and so which was one of the things of like he was kind of like, don't. You've got to have the preamps have got to be great, and it was kind of, and if you haven't got great preamps, I'm going to make sure you have them because I'm going to give them to you. And it was like so amazing for that. And I think, and actually he's kind of constantly been on the end of the phone for anything. And I think working with him over time as well, it's become now, you know, especially the way me and Jag work together and the way Jag will prepare a file to go to Cenzo is that there's such a...
Because he worked under him for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to work with him for a bit. And
what a great little learning curve that must have been.
He came back and suddenly his mixes were getting very close. But and Jag's actually proven himself as an amazing mixer now as well, which is also an incredible route to bit with some projects we've been doing just completely ourselves, and as soon as we finished the mix prep, Jag will start mixing.
I had an amazing catch up with him on your last gig. It was like a non-stop thing. couldn't stop us.
Well, he's a geek, isn't he? I love it. More geeky, way more geeky than me.
What other stuff have you got coming up that you can talk about?
There's a few cool things that are potentially happening, but I sort of feel like I shouldn't mention them.
Okay.
but then I'm sort of the 10 tons thing's a continual thing at the moment, and which has been like it kind of feels like every time we do something it's more exciting, and it feels like there's something really building with him, and so I'm really looking forward to continuing on that and having more and more's coming out. I think there's some singles coming out soon, and there's an EP we just did. And
are you doing any like kind of songwriting stuff, as in like jumping in on projects?
There is, well, there's the Jessie Ware thing that is done, which was amazing, which was kind of it was essentially she had written this track with Paul Buchanan, who is from the Blue Nile. Yeah. And they had it as a demo that wasn't used or hadn't got used for a previous record, and she kind of wanted to revive it and knew that I was a fan of Blue Nile and sort of thought, well, if anyone can kind of have enough, sort of want to make that work, then it's me. And actually, so me and Felix worked on that together, and then I produced the track, and that's gone really well. It sounds great. Cool. And hopefully. But I don't know. There's loads of stuff.
Nice. It's good to be busy.
It's good.
Well, Hugo, thank you ever so much for coming on the APW, and
cheers, man.
More power to your producing elbow.
Thank you.
So much.
Cheers.